Hello, everybody. Welcome to MVB Life Empowerment Sessions. So, this is a podcast where you learn little nuggets that make you better in how you do your things and how you make your decisions and process things. So, it was birthed out of a podcast that I currently have called MVB Life Empowerment Sessions. It's available on Apple Podcasts as well as on Spotify. But I decided I was going to bring it over onto this YouTube platform. So this YouTube platform is basically for a lot of topics, music. It was initially for music, but I would also kind of want to bring in topics that I feel will be very beneficial to humanity, to myself, to my family, to friends, to relatives, to the world, the nation at large, because I feel like we are living in a society or in an era where, it's important to build each other up. It's important to be wholesome together, because the more wholesome we are, the better our environments will become, the better our worlds will become, and we will just be overall happy. Because if your friends are happy, your family is happy, you are happy, the people around you are happy, guess what? We become an infectious, happy community. Isn't that so? So today's nugget that I'm bringing to the table is faith. I've come to realize that faith is a great asset to have. To me, it's one of the greatest assets. It's one of the greatest commodities that have kept me, that has sustained me, that has made ways for me, that has opened doors for me, that has just been a tremendously greatest, help, I would say. What you have faith in is important. I have faith in God, and He's basically the parameter off of which I decide things, move, breathe, live. And I have to say, God has been absolutely amazing and faithful, So what am I going to talk about in terms of faith? I'm going to bring scriptures that will show you the people that lived on faith and how they were rewarded and how their lives were blessed, or how they left legacies, right? So even if it didn't work out for them, they still left these major legacies that the world at large is still enjoying, because it's all a matter of principles. Faith without works is dead, As much as you have it, it also has to be implemented. There are things that need to be put into place for it to work for you. It's like having knowledge. Knowledge without understanding is going to be very difficult for you to apply. If you don't apply it, then that means it doesn't really work for you. And even if you have wisdom needs the knowledge. It needs the understanding to be able to be applicable in any situation. So today, I'm just gonna jump into it. I'm very encouraged, and I just love it, because faith to me is an asset. I tell you, no lie. It's a great asset. So I'm going to read this real quick. Hebrews 11, verse 1 to 11. It's the most easiest thing to remember. Chapter 11, verse 1 to 11. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. For by it the elders obtained a good reward. And through faith we understand that the worlds were framed by the word of God, so that things that are not seen were not made of things that appear. Through faith, we understand that the worlds were formed by the word of God, so that things that are seen were not made of things which do appear. It's like a great level of hope. That means you got to think it, you got to believe it, you got to leave it, and then it's going to become what? Evident. Maybe not now, but later. You got to speak it. You got to feel it. You got to work it. Work your faith. And it will produce desired results in the end, eventually. By faith, Abel offered to God a more excellent sacrifice than Cain, by which he obtained witness that he was righteous, God testifying of his gifts, and by it he, being dead, yet speaks. And by faith Enoch translated that he should not see death, and was not found, because God had translated him. For before his translation he had had this testimony, that he pleased God. But without faith it is impossible to please God. For he that cometh to God must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. Listen to this. But without faith it's impossible to please God. Without faith it is impossible to please God. So you must have it for it to work for you. You must have faith to please God. And why do you want to please God? Because God is the one who rewards, right? And it goes on to say, but without faith it is impossible to please him. For he that cometh to God must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. There is an action. We must seek God. We must have faith, and we must believe in God and trust in him, and know that he's going to make it work for you. It's going to make it work for me, because he's a God who fulfills his word. His word will not go back void. And it says, by faith Noah, being warned of him, of God, of things not seen as yet, moved with fear, he prepared an ark to the saving of his house, by which he condemned the world, and became the heir of righteousness, which is by faith. Sometimes you got to move by faith to salvage the damage that can come to your life, to salvage the damage that can happen in your family, in your relationship, in your future, into your tomorrow. So the type of tomorrow that you want, you got to begin to sow it in the now. You got to sow the faith now, so that you can reap the great rewards later. No one knew that he had this faith in God. He heard the voice of God. He could have chosen to just not believe God and do everything that everybody was doing. But you know what? He believed in the report of the Lord, and he began to build that ark, and that ark saved him and his family. So you and I, we must put our faith to work. It's not enough to have it, but we must put it to work and watch God act on our behalf. And verse 8 says, by faith Abraham, when he was called to go out into the place which he should after receive for an inheritance, obeyed. And he went out, not knowing which and whither he went. Abraham obeyed God. God sent him somewhere, told him, this is the place you gotta go. This is gonna be a place of inheritance. He didn't see it, he didn't know the place yet, but he believed the God he served. He listened, his heart listened, and he held on to faith. He moved by faith, and God gave him an inheritance. Verse 9 says, by faith he sojourned into the land of the promise, as in the strange country, dwelling in tabernacles with Isaac and Jacob, the heirs with him of the same promise. For he looked for a city which had foundations, whose builder and maker is God. I love this. Abraham, he moved with Isaac, he moved with Jacob, he's saying, into the promised land. And the Bible talks about Abraham looked for a place that had foundations, whose builder of those foundations was God, our maker. So for your life to be established, for your success to be established completely, your foundation has to be rooted in God. He is the builder. He is the maker. So where he builds, nothing can shake. What he builds, nothing can shake. And even if something comes like a flood to try and shake it, he is God all by himself. He will make a way for you. He is who he says he is. Abram looked for a city which had foundations, which the builder was God, our maker. I choose to believe that my faith is grounded on God, not on man. My faith is grounded on the maker of the heavens and earth. So he who has called me, he who has brought me into this earth, because my hope is in him, he proves himself time and time again. And don't get me wrong, it doesn't mean that you won't go through challenges. It doesn't mean that things will not happen. Things will happen, but because your faith is so rooted in God, even when the storms are shaky, you know, and you know. Like my husband always says, if you know, you know. You know and you know that it is God who is keeping you, that he's in the boat with you, that though it's rocking and shaking, God is right there with you. You're not alone. You're not alone. I love Carrie Joby. I think she said, I am not alone. I am not alone. You will go before me. You will never leave me. Yes, that's how God operates. He won't let you operate and move by yourself. As long as you give yourself to him and you hold on by faith and you trust in his promises, he will surely make them come to pass. And then I love verse 11, which is the last one. It says, through faith, also Sarah herself received strength to conceive seed and was delivered of a child when she was past age, because she judged him faithful who had promised. Sarah was past childbearing age, like way past. My God, she was like somebody's grandmother. She was way, 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 way past. When I say grandmother, like great grandmother, right? And she was way past childbearing age. And at that point, like, you know, when things are like that, you're like, oh, you know what, God, I just forgot about it. Like, this ain't gonna happen. But she believed the report of God. She believed the report of the Lord, and she held on to God's promises. And because she had faith in her old age, she was able to receive the promise of a child. What does this tell us? It may delay. It may tarry, but it will surely come to pass. It may tarry, but it will surely come to pass. That one thing that you want, that one thing you desire so much and you want God to do for you, it looks like it's not coming. It looks like it's delayed. It may tarry, but I assure you it will come to pass. Just be still and know that God is God. Be still and know that he is faithful, that God will make a way. I'm telling you, faith is your commodity. Even as I speak it, I'm like, you know, sometimes when you speak the word of faith, it's like there are negative words that want to come into your head to confuse you, to make you doubt God. But I refuse to listen to those words and just say, wow, I've seen you move. I've seen you do wonders. Lord, I've seen you do miracles. You know you've seen God move. Nobody has to tell you, because you know you've seen him be good. In those tougher situations, when things were just looking like they were not working in your favor, you've seen God. You've seen God move. And for that very reason, we are persuaded, we are convinced that we serve a God who is able, a God who is capable. And if we do our part, if we trust and we obey, he will do his part. If we hold on to faith, he will do his part. If we please the Lord our God, he will do his part. If we live our life free from sin, God will do his part. If we put our hands to the plow, God will do his part. If we go where he leads us, God will do his part. So I'm just here to encourage you today to say, hold on to faith, because faith is your greatest commodity, and faith will bring you to a perfected, great future. So be blessed, somebody. Until our next episode, I hope this was encouraging, and I hope this was a blessing to you. And we'll meet once again. Thank you for tuning into MVB Life Empowerment Sessions.